It's live. We're live. Episode 4. Episode 4. We had a I had a brain fart for a second. It's just been a long. After the 49ers lost on Sunday.
I'm sorry, bro.
I just feel like I was so excited, and then
I was thinking about you whenever
it sucked.
We were playing. I was like, John's probably.
Yeah, I was upset, but it's fine. Hey, they don't pay my bills at the end of the day. They get their nice check and they go home and they got millions of dollars, and
I don't feel bad.
We're out here struggling. Yeah, so I only get mad for a second, and then I'm like, all right, cool, I'm over it. Back to work tomorrow.
I feel that.
But yeah, episode 4. What's going on with you, man? How was your weekend?
It's great. Had baby girl. It was my weekend. Was it your weekend too?
No, well, that's a weird thing too. Like as I get older, I think the dynamic just changes a little bit, just because. Well, my daughter's 16, so it's like. Yeah. One, she might have other stuff going on, and then her mom does, like, and her mom and her stepdad, they have a what's it called? What are those things that you take pictures at, like at weddings? God, I can't even think of it.
Like photo booth.
A photo booth. Okay. So they do a photo booth. So they were busy, and she will help them. So she makes a little bit extra cash. I think they pay her. I don't know. It could just be child labor and not being paid. But
I got you.
So it just like it's different sometimes.
Y'all are pretty flexible with your scheduling.
Yeah. So and then cool. Man, when they're 16, it's a little bit older. Sometimes they're like in their own world, hanging out with friends or have friends doing whatever, blah blah blah. And
it just gets different.
You're just
when they
like
get older.
Yeah, and then you don't want to be so like, no, you got to come with me, because then they're like, I don't want to be with you today. Right. You know what I mean?
Nah, I feel you. And then at that, it's kind of cool sometimes, to have a little extra free time to be able to, when the daughter's over and stuff like that,
It's kind of hard, yeah.
Yeah. If you got if you pretty busy at work, or like you got some stuff that you need to get done,
hard.
Yeah, it can be a little tough.
And your daughter's not at the age yet where you can just leave her by herself yet.
Yes, I know exactly. Well, I've left her by herself a couple times, but it's like, I'll make sure she has a phone.
And you're just like, holy crap.
Exactly. Can't be too long or anything like that.
Checking it, like
start freaking out. Luckily, I have a camera at my home, and I also have my dog to make sure she's fine whenever I do have to leave, like say 20 minutes or something like that. So it's never really that big of a deal, but yeah. Most of the time, she wants me to leave her in the apartment whenever I go walk the dog. So I'm like. Like just
they're trying to have their own little space.
Exactly.
Even though they got to come with you, they're like,
she's like, I don't feel like walking the dog. I'll stay home. I'll, do stuff.
Yeah.
So, got the camera just in case she wants to be sneaky and get in the kitchen or something. I don't know.
Yeah, you gotta watch out for them. Sometimes they be getting in stuff. You're like, what are you doing? It's crazy. My daughter was big into slime. Slime was a thing.
Oh, bro, let's not talk about slime.
But I don't like. So she would get like borax.
I know you're talking about,
or whatever, and like make it and stuff like that, and do all this slime stuff. And I'm like, I put like different scents in it. She's like, oh, we got to buy like this, whatever scent and pour it. I'm like,
my daughter ruined about 2 or 3 comforters with slime, because when you get it in the comforter, it
won't come out.
Yep. So
yeah, I'm glad those days are over. But
yep.
Now she's into the like Harry Styles and.
That's tough. She's into boys, that's
boy
different.
Stuff. Man, I have these allergies. I don't know what it is. It ain't COVID.
Okay.
It's just allergies.
You sure?
Man. It's no.
Well,
I mean, no COVID.
I was sick about 2 weeks ago, so I got the antibodies, so we're good, bro. We good.
No, that's good, man. That's good.
Let's get to it, man. What's up?
Yeah. What do you want to talk about first? I think there's kind of a few things that we kind of discussed, but
let's dive into our background, because I don't think we ever touched base on
I think we just briefly touched like just a little bit where we came from, like on the first episode. But
so I think the first episode we really kind of just tapped in and just talked about where we currently are. But let's dive into it. Like, let's talk about how we got started. Like, what brought you into fitness?
Man, it's crazy. So, let's see. I always worked out, right? Like, I always went to the gym. Always was just kind of like, so the girl that I was, let's go back to like 2011, something like that. So the girl that I was dating, we lived together. We had a house out in Sugar Land, and so we would always working out. And eventually she was like, why don't you just get your like trainer cert? And at that time I was still working like in oil and gas,
So you came from oil and gas. I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
so I was like, all right, so I came from oil and gas, and she was like, why don't you get your trainer cert? And I was like, all right, cool. So I looked into it. So I went through NASM. That's what I have.
Yeah.
So I went through NASM and got it done. And it's crazy because at that, like right when I got it done, I saw a friend on Facebook who checked in at the juice box place.
Okay. Getting some juice, huh?
Yeah. No, so they checked out the so, and I was like, man, what is this?
I
was
remember
like,
they were doing like the Facebook check-in.
and I
a
was
while
like,
back.
yeah, and so they were at the mall, at a kiosk at the mall, First Colony Mall.
Oh,
They hadn't
wow.
even opened up Sugarland yet, so
Wow.
it was still they only had the San Felipe location.
And this one, it was like, okay, the only one, I guess in Texas at the time.
Yeah,
right?
the only one there. So it was the first studio in the state of Texas, and I reached out to him, and it was Ron. I don't know if you know Ron Roberts. I don't know if you ever. Do you ever met
heard of him,
Rob?
but I don't-
So
I don't
anyway,
know
so
that.
Ron's it's his little brother. So me and Ron worked together at the radio station.
Okay.
So I worked at 104 for a while, and I was like, man, hey, what's up? Like, hey, like, just hit him up. What is this? And he's like, oh, it's, this place. And his brother Rob is like the
Trainer, one of the
head
trainers,
trainer or
yeah.
whatever, right? And he's the one that's doing the hiring and stuff.
Right.
So he's like, send me your resume and I'll send it to him. And he sent me, and so that was that. We met up. I had an interview at Sugarland. So I walked, they're still building it. So I walk in, I'm sitting there, and they're like, people are doing construction around me. And I'm like dressed up. And Rob and the owner walk in, and they're like, God, we can't be here. So we go to Whole Foods. So we go to Whole Foods, and we have the interview. And the owner was like, man, you don't have too much experience. I didn't have experience, not necessarily like,
Right.
I knew fitness, but I didn't have experience training people.
Yeah.
Besides like my girlfriend at the time.
Right.
But
Because I remember at that time they were requiring most trainers like to have at least 2 years of
yeah,
experience.
so
right?
I kind of like,
I remember that.
yeah. So back then I kind of got like the little, they were just like, the owner was like, man, I don't know.
Right.
And then Robert, and I didn't even really know Rob at the
Mm-hmm.
time. Man, he was cool, man. Like
Yeah.
we hit it off, and he was cutting for me. He said, "Nah,
Yeah.
be good. Let's just give him a try.
So he looked
We'll
out
bring
for
him
you.
in.
That's
We'll
good.
do the training. You'll bring him in with the other trainers." So we did the training
Right.
for like it was a week training back then. It
Yeah,
was
I
like for
remember.
8 hours. It was like
Yeah.
crazy
Yeah.
long, and I had to take like vacation time for my oil and gas. I'm
Right.
like, anyway, so
It was a mess.
got on the mic, and that was it. People were like, "Whoa, who's this? Who's this little guy with the big voice on the mic?" And I'm like, "Oh, hi, it's me." So they gave me a chance, gave me the opportunity, and just ran with it, really.
Okay.
And so that's how I got into
Fitness, right?
into there. And then I left the oil and gas company just on a limb. Like
Right.
I was leaving insurance, leaving
Right,
401k, leaving
Yeah.
all that stuff.
Stability, period. Yeah.
Yeah,
A little bit more
And
stability.
I said, you know what? I think this is going to grow a lot.
Right. And
Took
you
the
were
jump.
right. Yeah.
Took the jump. Like 4 or 5 months later, became the head coach
Right,
at
right.
the studio in City Center,
Right,
Town and
right.
Country, and I was there for 4 years. And then left there, went to another studio, and then at the studio I'm at now. But that's kind of how I got started. Was in fitness,
Well, you
just like it
also
was
were
random.
at F45. Am I correct?
Yeah, I was at F45 for a little bit, and occasionally I would still. That was a big mess. Like F45 is way different
Yeah.
than, and we can kind of just talk about like franchise stuff too, or
Maybe
like just
one day
like
we can dive in.
yeah, but kind of just like F45, and then now at Sweat. But
Right.
yeah, that's how I got in, and then like I just learned. And the crazy thing is like when that's all you know when you first get into the fitness industry, you adapt to that. So like all I knew was group fitness instruction, right? So like now that a lot of boutique studios are into that format of, oh, well, you have, it's like calling cues, bam, bam, bam. Some people can't do it. Right. But I want to come back around, but I want let's talk about how you got into it, because I think we can probably talk a little bit more about that boutique studio and stuff like that and how people got in. But
We can dive into it. I think in the future we should definitely focus on the episode on giving people a better idea of different boutiques and what they have to offer, and then our perspective of like which ones we like prefer better? I mean, of course, talk about the ones that we're currently at right now and stuff like that, you know. In a positive light on all realms, right? So that, you know, somebody who've never heard of any of these boutiques who get a better, I don't want to steer anybody down, you know, in a negative direction, you know, in a positive-ish light, you know what I'm saying? But anyways, fitness for me, man. I mean, you know, I've always been, super, put it like this. Whenever I was 8 years old, or maybe 9 years old, my mama just threw me in football.
Yeah.
And because I had all this built-up energy, and I would just run amok around the house, and she was like, nah, get out of the house with all that. So she threw me in football. I mean, and I was a sports kid, man. I played sports all the way up to the age of, from 8, maybe even younger than that. I can't remember. But let's say 8 to about 18. And in football, track, everything, I think I was really good. I just, my senior year, I ended up tearing my ACL. So rehabbing through that really, having to rehab and work with an athletic trainer and stuff like that changed my perspective of, you know, working out in general. Because it was like I went from lifting super heavy weights and maxing out to having to focus on stability, knee stability, ankle stability. And I had a lot of energy. We talked about this one time before too, and I don't know how many injuries. I broke my wrist, I broke my shoulder, my knee. Not my knee, but I tore my ACL. So it was like a lot of different things. A lot of times that I had to get into rehab and physical therapy. So that gave me a perspective, like kind of shined a little light. Wasn't really my passion 100% yet, but I was like, man, working out I'm never not work out, right?
Right.
I remember I spent a summer, probably when I was about 18, like just lifting, just straight lifting for the whole summer. I probably put on about 15 pounds of muscle. And it was just like dirty workouts. Like coach was like, hey, just go press whatever you can, you know, that type of stuff. No type of programming, no type
form.
of, exactly. Form was probably trash, all that stuff. So that was probably my start with fitness. When I got to college, like most people, I probably spent my first semester trying to figure it out, you know, first semesters, right? Like maybe first 2 or 3 semesters trying to figure out if fitness was going to be, or in general, just figure out what I want to do in life. And, but one thing I always maintained was working out, you know? And, I don't know, I had a buddy of mine that I had met in college, and this guy worked out like crazy. He was pretty ripped too, pretty jacked guy. I haven't talked to the guy in years, but he would he would make me feel guilty for not working out. You know, you ever know one of those guys, like you at the gym, he's like, hey, I ain't seen you in about 2-3 days, man. Where you been at? That type of stuff.
Yeah, man, don't worry about it. Dang.
It's like, bro, I might have been sick. I don't know. You know, ain't no telling.
Nah.
But he was one of those guys, and he would really, really hold me accountable. He would text me whenever he would go work out, text me stuff. Like, I just remember this. He would text me pictures of like the barbell. Be like, hey, you see this barbell right here? She said she ain't seen you in 3 days, fam. That type of stuff. So I started getting more serious with my training, and I think during that time when I started training with him, man, I put on like another 15 pounds of muscle during that time, because I really would like I probably was in one of the best shapes of my life. And then boom, I think one day we had a conversation. He was like, man, what are you doing in school? Like, what are you? And I think I was still trying to figure it out. I was like, I think I'm gonna go into, at that time, maybe I was like computer design or something like that. He was like, bro, why aren't you in fitness? Like, why don't you just focus on doing this, bro? Like, you could really do something. Really? Like, the way that you put on muscle, the way that you work out hard, like, and at that, like, you're a great guy. People will love you. And I was like, it's a great idea.
Yeah.
So I started steering my direction more towards, while I was in college, like, okay, let me take a couple of classes in kinesiology and see how I actually like it. I took some, I loved it.
Yeah.
So that was the focus while I was in school, but then I ended up having my daughter. I took a little bit of time off. Eventually ended up, during that time when I had my daughter, I was like, you know what? During this time is a great time for me to become a trainer. I could make some side money. Yeah. At first it was like, you know, okay, I could make some side money. I think I had another buddy who he was like, hey man, I'm managing a gym. Like, I could bring you on as a trainer. You can make a little extra money. I was like, all right, cool. So I got my first cert. It was like a dirty cert too. When I say dirty cert, I mean like a cert like you probably cannot use anywhere. It's just like I got an online course, boom. And then I go to the gym. And, yeah, literally, it was like, but it cost like $400. So I'm like, bro, I got so mad after I paid for it, because I was like, bro, I can't use it even at 24-hour fitness. So, anyways, I got started just to, I guess that started my fitness, a little bit more fitness knowledge. And then, boom, I started working at the gym that my buddy was managing. It was a YMCA.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of just started as like an attendant. Boom, he gave me the opportunity to start coaching the boot camps. I got into boot camps. I did like 5 to 6 years of boot camps. During this same time, I think I reached out to the Orange Theory because it was right down the street from the Orange, not new, but the very first Orange Theory. Reached out to the owners, and I remember getting an email back that was like, "Oh, I'm sorry." At that time, I might have been like a year and a half into fitness. It was like, "I'm sorry, you just haven't been." We require 2 years, so that's how I knew about the 2-year thing. But so then, boom, I ended up spending some more time just focusing on, first of all, finishing my education, getting my degree, and then finishing up, getting more credible certs. So I ended up getting my ACSM certification, and then also finished my degree in kinesiology pretty soon. And then eventually, I think during the time when I was finishing, I think right after I finished my degree, that's when I got on with Orange Theory. And then sorry, Juice Box. We can take that out.
No,
that's
we can. We're referring to
right.
work. It's just work.
So yeah, whenever I finished my degree, that's when I got in at the Juice Box. And I mean, it was like second nature because at the Y, I had already been running boot camps. I was doing HIIT classes. I was doing personal training. I actually had it pretty good at the Y, except for the Y can't really afford to pay people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's a nonprofit. Like,
right.
They have a set amount that they usually pay trainers. They go off a budget and all that other stuff. So, anyways, so yeah, I had lots of experience picking up the Juice Box was almost second nature. Like I was automatically like, I was like, man, I'm actually good at this, and the people were like, yeah, you're great at it. So, I had my experiences with them, and then eventually, I mean, I kind of built my way into being here. I mean, I worked at a lot of gyms, man. I worked at Rice University. I worked at, I did apartment fitness with another company called Fit Casa. If you ever heard of them, they do like fitness and stuff like that in events. I always did like private training. I can't remember who else, but I feel like I've been at like 2 or 3 other gyms. Let me see. Of course, Orange Theory, the YMCA. Man, I did boot camps. I ran boot camps at Spots Park for a little while with another company called Hit Fit. Remember that? I've trained at a couple of different like gyms in and out. Maybe like independent contractor wise, like in almost 3 different gyms. Yeah, 3 different gyms by now. And right now, we both are at Sweat. I mean, I think they're really, really dope. I like the ownership there and stuff like that. But I mean, that's pretty much how I got to here. It's probably a couple, cracks and stuff like that. But for the gist of it, as far as education wise and as far as like my experience, that's kind of where we go. Also, Spenga, I can't forget about them too. Also, Spenga, the owners at Spenga is super, super cool. I don't know, Chris, Spearman, super cool. And I like being parts of dope stuff with great people. Period.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing too. So I just posted something on my Instagram yesterday that talks about like community and how when you are around a great community, and I say this, and it could, in any work environment, I feel like, but in fitness, if you're around a great community and there's a great team building, you can go pretty far, right? Like you want to go to work.
Agreed.
It's not like, oh man, I got to go here, got to do this, I got to deal with politics, I got to deal with all this stuff.
Right.
And it could be also something that's like, it's small studio. Does it stay small? Does it, if you grow, then it grows. And you have, we have experience with that in our past work environment. And then it starts to just get really diluted in a sense, right?
Yeah.
But
I do like going, like being able to wake up and then going to go do stuff that I actually like. And then one thing that I most recently, I guess after I left the Juice Box, right? I figured out is like I don't want to be in an environment where I feel like I either not want it or like at any moment that I could go. Yeah. Like like there's different ways to think. Like, okay, I could go if I mess this up. You know what I mean? Like you shouldn't be trying to. First of all,
right?
You should
And
always
I think
be at your best.
Yeah, and man, we like
we can dive into that one day
that,
too, man.
Like that is so working there. I'm gonna put that out there. Like I screwed up. Don't lie. Like they gave me chances after chances, and I think I was very fortunate enough to be able to have those opportunities to like give another chance and another chance. Right. Because now it's not like that, right? And this was a little bit more when it was a little bit more mom and pop at the time.
Right.
And now it's it's like a full on business,
You're right. It's a
right?
real
So
business.
there's HR. We didn't have HR at that time.
Right.
Like there was a lot of things that
Way more
weren't in place.
lenient, right? It was
Yeah,
lenient
so-
in different ways.
And but as it grew, and once I left, you hear just kind of stories and things like that were going on. And I think whoever you have in that leader role, like, makes a big difference in anywhere you go, right? So I think that's why when you go into a studio, if you're a trainer, you want to get the vibe of the owners.
Right.
Depending if it's not like a big business. Like, if it's like a small boutique studio, like home owned, like you want to get to know the owners and see the vibe, talk to the other coaches, talk to the front desk staff, talk to members there if you're taking classes, and just kind of get a vibe for it. Because
And that's from both perspectives, trainer, and even it feels good to know that as a purchaser, like a client, right?
Yeah.
Like, even just going there to work out, like when you see the owners there, that's a different vibe too.
right, because it's not like, because if it's like a 24 or something bigger like that, then you're really dealing with more like the manager of the
Right.
that gym and
But
things
even
like
then,
that.
that's still more personal when you can see somebody like you. Oh, I know this guy handles up on this.
Right.
If there's ever an issue, let me talk to this guy. I know this guy. He comes. I mean, and if that person is personable enough, right? Like if they're like they like talking to members and stuff like that. Because I've been to gyms too, to where the managers are just back and forth, and they hate talking to members because they feel like members just complain all the time. So it just really just
And yeah,
Depends.
and it's crazy. Like, so we can just talk about like boutique studios, but so going back to that, I think members, and I say this, some members are great, some members aren't, with like either not the coaches, but like the managers,
Right.
or the front desk people.
Right. But let's put it
and-
like this. Let's put a large percentage of members are really great or at least good.
right, yeah, and you
Small
get
percentage of
right, and I
people
think what
have problems.
what they need to understand is that, and I'm saying this for all my front desk people out there and all the people that work hard, because I know what you guys have to deal with in both sides. Like having to deal with the customers, you guys deal with the customers more than we do. Like
Yes, a lot.
if there's bad things, if there's not bad things, but if there's like they have an issue with something or whatever it is,
Problems, yeah.
like you're the first person in line
Right.
to get like the wrath of whatever it might be.
Yeah.
So the stuff that you have to put up with, like, I appreciate, because they're gonna listen. No lie, they're gonna listen to us
Right.
before they listen to you, because
Right.
we are the coaches.
Right.
Like, and I can tell you this, back at the juice box, that's why we would do announcements,
Yeah.
because a lot of the times the front desk would say, "Hey, this is what's going on." They'd be like, "Man, we don't care,"
Right.
like
They
whatever.
wouldn't
But if
respect them as much as they
right, but if the
respect us.
coach mentions it, or the
Right.
coach is saying these things, they're like, "Oh, okay, cool, got it," and it's like that's kind of how this business works, to be honest with you.
I think it's
Um,
funny to see that perspective too, because, I mean, in general, like not even in that light. I think a lot of people look up to us and like hold us to a higher standard because we're in the fitness industry. But then
Right.
we're the ones like guiding them in a positive light as far as health goes. So like they look up to us
Yeah.
in certain ways. So
And
like
that-
when you do little stuff and you kind of disappoint them, it's just a crazy scenario to even think about. Well,
Yeah.
not crazy, but it's just I never would have saw that coming in before I was into
into
training. Yeah.
No, it's crazy, the stuff that you hear. Like, I've been in the studio when I was a head coach, and like in the office, and you just hear like a member just go off, and I have to
Yeah.
step out, right? I'm like,
Yeah.
yo, what's going on? And try to like,
Right.
because they're getting like, they're like,
Right.
and a lot of them, like a lot of the times there's the front desk, they're either really young and in school or whatever it is, like going through like, just kind of passing by. Cause it's, when you're in the front desk,
It's customer service, bro. It's basically
so
like
it's,
a Starbucks, right? Like people who the baristas more than likely. I mean, Starbucks probably has less of a turnover than maybe places like these franchises do
Right.
because
And-
they
yeah.
actually have good, management and people.
and that's the thing too. It's like, what is it as the front? A lot of the front desks that have worked with are like, oh, I'm in school to be XYZ. So
Right.
we're done.
Yep.
Oh, they're done with school and they go off.
It's a part-time gig.
Off to be teachers or off to be whatever it is. So it's just kind of like a part-time thing, going through it, which is fine. Some people actually love the
Stick with
company and want to grow with it, which is also, and that's the thing, you gotta, and that's
how
fine.
they build. Yeah, I got it.
But boutique studios, man, like just kind of going back to like as far as just like boutique studios and working for them, they're all different.
Yeah.
And again, go back to management. ownership.
Yeah.
That if you want to become a trainer in these boutique studios, that is one thing to look at when you're going to go and like apply for something.
Absolutely.
Is ownership, community, because it goes a long way. Because you can go into something and the ownership can suck.
Right.
It can be bad. And then you're like,
Mm-hmm.
this is horrible. And then you get a bad experience.
And honestly, if they suck, more than likely you're probably going down. So it'd probably be better to jump ship beforehand.
Yeah. And there's so much too. I mean, it also goes back to like how much is the owner or owners involved in the business.
Yeah.
And
How
I can tell
invested.
you from like the juice box, like it was all just like straight, like we're doing this, we're doing that. And the thing about it, and it was crazy because I was like the right hand man almost in a sense to the owner. Going to like
For a
the
long
new
time.
build outs and doing like all this stuff. Like it was nuts.
So you
right.
got a
So
lot
you
of
got to
insight.
see,
Yeah.
you get to see a lot of the
From the ground up.
from
The
from
build.
like, hey, these are the build outs, this is what we need to do this.
Yeah.
And so which is great because I think a lot of it now, a lot of that stuff rubbed off on me because the owner was always like, well, there's something wrong with here, there's something wrong with this. So every time I go into a studio,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what studio it is,
Right,
any
right.
studio,
You
any
look at
boutique
those
studio,
things.
I'm looking at the little detail, like why is this wall dirty, why can't we clean this up,
Right.
why is this broken, or why can't we see this, or
Right.
and it's like little things that people are like, wait, what? And I'm like,
But from an
Makes it-
ownership perspective, that's like the
Right.
things you look at.
right,
you know?
because you're just like attention to detail to all these little things, right? It's just crazy, which is, it could be a good thing,
No,
you
that's
know.
a great experience to
Um,
have. Just in, who knows where you're going to be in 5 years. You know, you could be, even if it's not, having a gym or something like that. It could be just a business. If you
Yeah.
if you're in your business, first of all, as trainers, we're in the business for ourselves, regardless of where we're at. We're at the Juice Box, F45, Sweat. We have any type of gym, personal, 24-hour fitness, right? It's our business. We got to represent ourselves at all times, right?
Yeah.
And then we make sure we collect. But in general, so I mean, being in business for yourself in general, you pay attention to those things. Whether you're a trainer trying to find a gym, you're looking at the gym. Whenever you step in, you're like, oh, do I even want to train here? Oh, they got cracks in the ceilings. Oh, no, I ain't trying to. That type of
'cause it's,
stuff.
Yeah, it goes. Yeah, like man, this equipment's all messed up. Like, what are you
Right.
trying to? It's there's a lot that goes with it, and I think just as a trainer trying to like find where you need to go, and I think I might have mentioned it in the first episode, but you have to go take these classes and figure out what you want to coach in, right? Because I can tell you, I have helped people where I'm like, you're not going to be good at doing this,
Right.
but I can maybe get you to do this, and I know that you can excel here. So it's just like knowing where you want to go, right? And that's the thing too. Like you don't want to be set up for failure. Like if you can't control two groups at the same time and go back and forth,
Right.
then this type of gym isn't for you, or this type.
Right.
But if you just want to go and do this and just like
Right.
coach and whatever,
Mm-hmm.
then this is a little bit more up your speed, and you'll be successful at it, and you'll be great at it. And that's the thing you need to do is like go and take these classes and put yourself in that coach's situation and be like, could I do this?
See if you can really do it. I think that's one big thing that aspiring trainers should. First of all, I mean, just get a feel for the industry in general. Like we, being a private one-on-one trainer, or just in general, training people privately everybody should already know the perspective. It's a lot different than training groups. Training groups, not to say one is harder or one is more, easier to do. It's just different. So if you're used to just dealing with one person, it's different dealing with 30. You know what I mean? So being able to be flexible, in general, or just kind of feeling like if this is for you. I know people who are in group fitness who are like, I would never train. I know people who are trainers who would be like, I can never do group fitness, So it's an interesting perspective on that too. But if you're, aspiring.
Moving on to dating, you kind of just brought something up. You said that someone, or maybe you saw it somewhere, I don't know, that their husband uses their bath towel.
So let me go back. Right? Somebody that I know, I'm not going to say who they are or how they're related to me. Right?
Someone that you know, someone that you're one of your acquaintances.
I don't want them to be pointed out. But, and this person is probably going to tune into this podcast and laugh. But, they said that their husband gets out of the shower and uses their drying towel to dry off and wash, in general, to dry his whole body.
Mm-hmm.
So, question. Are you comfortable, or put it like this, question, do you let your significant other use your towel to dry their bodies? And how comfortable are you doing that? Is that a deal breaker? Is that it's not so bad? Like, I want to know your thoughts on that.
Man, that's crazy. Honestly, I say that, but then I kind of just mentioned to you that I had used my girlfriend's toothbrush at one point by accident. It's not like I was like,
Okay.
but okay. So if you forget your toothbrush,
Accident's not bad.
yeah, no, it was on accident.
But
Because she was like,
purposely, it's like,
well, no. She was like, your toothbrush, did you use mine or yours? And I'm like, I think I used mine. She goes, yours is dry as hell. And
she
mine's
felt it. Did she see it?
I guess so. She was like, that's
She saw
disgusting.
hers was
so
wet.
Yeah, so she threw it away. But whatever. It was. I had to get a new toothbrush for it. But going back to the bath towel thing. Yeah, that's weird. Because then, like, I guess if he doesn't care about it, then because the woman's going to be drying all her stuff up.
I'm thinking from the other perspective.
But the other way, yeah. And if you don't know that your husband used it or your boyfriend used it,
right,
and then you go off and like you shower and then like he just cleaned all his parts, and then you go on and then you're like wiping your face with it and you're like, oh man.
That's the thing. I'm just imagining, like, I know this is kind of like, and I do not do this at all, but I'm just imagining like like shit stains on a towel.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
wiping your face, or like you smell a towel and it just smells
It smells like
horrid.
Bro, I honestly like, and this goes back to like, I don't know if I use a towel, I'm probably gonna use it twice and I'm done with it. And we're gonna get different colored towels because
Okay.
we need to know which towel is not. Like, if we're down to one towel, then someone's not doing laundry, but
I want to know
we're slacking on the laundry department.
what's you already said 2. I think I'm a little bit, I'm like 3 or 4, okay? But what's the average number of how many times you use your drying towel before you throw it in the wash? Do you just do it once? My daughter does it once. I'm like, every time I'm telling like give it another use, because I'm like, I'm tired of washing towels over and over.
Twice, 3 times, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably like 3 times. And I'm
3
like,
times? Okay.
yeah.
I want to know the average, and I want to know what's like. And then maybe we can do some research and see, like, is it
What's the average of people using?
right? And is it
How often should you use
a
your
health
bathtub reuse?
thing? Like,
Yeah,
is
that's
it
true. Like, hey, should you switch towels every so often?
We can do some science,
Right?
Figure it out.
How
like-
often should you use your bath towel?
Right.
How many uses should you get your bath towel?
Yeah.
That's a good question.
That's a good question.
I don't know. We can put that on a poll, or just ask and maybe get some feedback, or what people use. How long how many uses do you get out of it?
So say you use your bath towel once or twice, right? But your significant other waits out 2 weeks. Are you gonna tell them like I'm watching? Are you gonna wash it for them
Yeah, I'm pulling it off the rack, and yeah, definitely gonna go into
without them even knowing?
Nah, it's
But
definitely.
what if they're
going-
like, "Where's my bath towel? Like, what'd you do with it?"
I'll be like, you nasty, you nasty. Do you throw that shit in the washer?
Oh man!
Because
Is that a
Oh.
conflict? Like, has anybody ever been through something like that? I wonder.
I don't know, but so I work with some other podcast guys, and I'm not on the podcast, and I just work with them, kind of like behind the scenes kind of deal. And there was an episode where they were talking about hygiene, and they were like, "Man, there's people that don't use washcloths," and it's all black guys.
Yeah.
And one of my buddies, he's getting married next month, or this month, actually in February, out in Mexico. And he has a son who's about Mia's age, because we know each other because we work together.
Right.
When we're like new dads pretty much. And his son's mom is white. And they were talking about like how he's like, man, I dated a lot of white girls.
Yeah.
And he's like, and they don't use washcloths.
What?
And they were like, what? And, they were like, who doesn't use washcloths? And I'm like, and I'm behind the scenes, and I'm like, I mean, I don't know. And they're like, no. They're like, come here, get on. So they were like, I was like, I do if it's there. Like, if not, it's fine. They're like, man, you nasty. And I'm like, well, it's not. Okay. I'm like, let's Let's be real here. Like if I forget the washcloth or if it's not in there and I just forget, then I'm just gonna wipe, like put soap on my hands and I'm going.
Right. Okay. You're
But
not
it's
gonna
not
get
like-
out and go get a washcloth.
Nah, I'm good.
I don't know. Fam. I might go get that.
I'm like, I know, I'm good.
Yeah.
Yes, sometimes I'm just like quick scrub and I'm out. Again, it depends also. Like if it's just like a quick, like I'm just going in, going out, it's fine. Like but I'm gonna come back and eventually scrub
Okay.
one of these. Like
I was gonna say
Soon.
I do not feel clean not using like I need a washcloth.
and I bet you there's a lot of people that don't use washcloths.
Like you have to like exfoliate and like rub the dirty off.
No,
of your
or
body,
you can, or
right?
like, yeah, washcloth, loofah, I guess.
Loofahs are
whatever.
cool too, right? Like something,
Whatever,
but like
but
loofahs-
something that you can just at least scrub the dirt off.
not you can't have a loofah longer than like I wonder. That's another thing. A month, right? Like how long does a loofah
loofahs,
last?
Yeah, I don't know how long you need to keep.
If you've been
loofahs.
using your loofah for 6 months, throw it away. I don't know who I'm talking to, but somebody
Yes,
needs
but
to do
yeah,
that.
yeah, just go on and get another. Man,
Toss it.
hey, so growing up, Mexican family, we had these little like rusk, almost like corn rusk, like these little brown corn rusk things. Like I don't even know what the hell they're called, but that's what we used to scrub. And there was like it looked like seriously just like pieces of like brown like it was rusk, right, from the corn. Is that what they called it?
I have no idea, bro.
But it's brown, and I have to like show you. But it's like,
You got to bring that in.
but we would use those as kid, and you just like rubbing, and this shit was like
It was good.
rough.
Huh. It was rough. Oh shit.
Yeah, but you just like I remember using that when I was like growing up. But
fam.
again, it was Mexicans. Like we use.
I
yeah.
wonder if this towel thing is a cultural thing. Like,
Like-
I wonder. Like, I mean,
No,
white
it
people,
has
the
to be.
the white people who listen to this podcast, if there are,
Do
any,
y'all share toothbrushes?
I hope that we get a couple of white people who can chime in on this. Okay, because John being Hispanic, I'm black. Like, we need to know your perspective. Do you use towels? Do you share toothbrushes? Do you use the same towel as your significant other, or would you? And would it not be a problem? Is it a problem or what? I want to know this. So y'all let us know next time. Whenever you chime in, or we'll probably post this on Instagram or something. Do you use the same towel as your significant other, or if you use it, is it like if they use yours, are you automatically putting it in a wash? Are you like mad about it? Like, does it bother you? Is that a deal breaker? Let us know.
Yeah,
But-
that's definitely.
As you could, like you said on the podcast, with a whole bunch of black guys, black people. That's a black thing.
I
Black
know.
people, we like, no. Where's the towel at? Like, we go to a guest house, we go to somebody else's place, take a shower, clean up.
Yeah.
We need a towel. We need 2 towels. We need the big one. We need the small one. Right.
Several ones. Yeah, yeah.
Most, I mean, I don't know what kind of soap you use too. Most black people, I know they using Dove soap. Dove soap. Those are 3 things to have if you plan on having black people in your house that spend the night.
Yeah.
Dove soap. I mean, towels
And
and,
clean
of course
towels.
toothpaste, please. But
Yeah.
pretty funny.
Yeah,
Pretty
so we'll have to,
interesting.
I don't know if people have ever used their same toothbrush. And the crazy thing is like, when I say that, I have, like, on a trip, used the girl that I was dating's toothbrush probably before. Because I didn't have one.
Mm.
But I think it was like, man, there's none and we got to go. So I'm like, or it's that. I guess I could have just used my finger and been like,
Yeah, you could have just scrubbed it out.
You know.
Maybe like a T-shirt. I think I've used my daughter's because I had nothing else, and I was like, I'll just throw it away, and used it. Boom.
Nah,
I don't
shit.
feel like my daughter's teeth are they're kind of like new.
nasty.
They're kind of new. you know,
New
like
teeth?
8-year-old teeth.
Yeah. No, that's true.
And they probably just came in like 2 years ago. So I'm like, really, 2-year-old teeth.
Speaking of brushing teeth and using toothbrush, I ate ice cream yesterday, right? So if you go brush your teeth, and then you're like, man, I had a craving to go eat ice cream. You're gonna eat ice cream, then you go brush your teeth again. If you eat after you brush your teeth already once, you go back and brush it again. If it's a snack or whatever.
I don't know. That's a hard one because it depends on how convenient it is to brush your teeth, right? Like if you're planning on like just getting ice cream and then going to the Galleria or something like that, like I'm not gonna stop somewhere and like.
But if it's right
Brush
before
up.
bed, so like let's just say you brush your teeth, you're getting ready for bed, and you're like, man, you know what?
Yeah.
I feel like eating some ice cream. And you go get some ice cream, then you eat it, and then you're like, shit, I gotta go brush them again.
Right. Yeah, I don't. If I forget to brush my teeth after eating something like that, wake up and my mouth just
It
feels,
just feels
gunky.
nasty.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I kind of like get afraid, like the sugar's gonna like bite. Like I'm gonna wake up and I got like fucking my
Cavities.
teeth are decaying and shit. so-
Cavities. Do you have a favorite ice cream spot in Houston?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, first off, I feel like I call myself ice cream aficionado. I know a couple of different places. I'm pretty bougie with ice cream. I love Smush. The ice cream isn't the best, but man, those brownies, those sandwiches,
Smush. I've never
Clutch.
been to Smush. Is there one in the Heights?
it's right there across from.
Okay, I thought so. I thought I seen one there. I Smush. I'll have to try it. Check it out. I love Fat Cat.
Oh, Fat Cat. Okay.
Fat Cat's good.
So, I was gonna say real quick. Fat Cat did a collab with Underground Creamery. Have you ever heard of them?
No, I don't think so. Where's it?
Underground
what?
Creamery is a guy on Instagram.
Ah,
He has an underground, like, I guess he must have been a former chef, and he started making like gourmet
like
ice cream. So this is what he did. He releases it online, and he has like he releases a clue onto his Instagram story. Because first off, every time that he sells it, it sells out quick. It's crazy. So like within seconds. So he started releasing clues on his Instagram story to when he was going to release it, I guess to give everybody a fair chance.
Yeah.
So I remember the last one I remember him doing, he hasn't done it in a couple of weeks, but because he had that collab with Fat Cat. But his last clue was like, it literally just said he's a bad father and he has a gambling addiction. So like I'm thinking, I'm like, I don't know who Michael Jordan, I don't know who, like I'm trying to think, is he really a bad father? The answer was, have you seen Squid Game?
yeah, yes.
It was the main character in Squid Game, and then everybody was numbered, right? So it was 452 or something like that.
Yeah. He was
That
the
was
last
the
one, I
time.
think. Wasn't his number the last? He was the last number, I think.
Right, whatever the number.
Because that old man was
right?
the first one.
Exactly.
Which, if you haven't seen Squid Games, that had took like a turn.
Watch it.
They got approved for season 2, I think, or they're gonna run season 2. I
could
think.
imagine, man. I'm
Something
pretty
like
sure
that.
they made a lot of money for that.
And that money was stupid.
Yeah, I'm
stupid.
sure.
But yeah, Fat Cat ice cream. I love that. McDonald's is always broken. They never have ice cream. Anytime you go, but I think either one, they don't want to clean it, or two, they just don't want to have to deal with the ice cream. But every time you go, it's always
I went
it's
and had
always
McDonald's
broken.
ice cream 2 days ago, and I told you earlier, them strawberry cream pies, fire.
You know, we also work out occasionally, so just so you know,
Yeah,
you guys
exactly.
know.
We even it out, man. We even it out.
And but Dairy Queen is probably one thing I grew up with here in Texas. Like Dairy Queen is like a Texas thing. If you guys aren't from Texas, I don't think they have Dairy Queens like anywhere else. I think they might like close to Texas states, but I don't think they have them like too far out. I'm not a fan of like Ben and Jerry's. What else is a big like chain one? But I don't know. I'm not a fan of those.
What else they got? You been to Jenny's? Jenny's.
I went there once.
Jenny's is fire.
Went
They
there
got like
once.
a bourbon infused one.
Yeah,
They
I
got
went
some,
there
like,
once.
Good boozy flavors.
Um,
And there's also Van Leeuwen. I
Oh,
like
yeah.
them.
Yeah, yeah.
In Rice Village, Van Leeuwen's really, really good.
So,
Just
yeah.
great places you can like take your.
If y'all have
family.
other ice cream places ideas, please let us know, because we are definitely interested on hearing some more ice cream shops so we can go and stop by and take the kiddos. And I think that's what we really were trying to get at is ice cream places you can take your kids. But although this weekend is going to be pretty cold, it's supposed to drop like freezing temperatures, almost like the that ice storm that we had last year. Remember, with all the like the snow and stuff? I don't think it's going to be that bad, and I don't think it's going to snow, but it's supposed to get really cold.
I'm
So if-
hoping they're wrong.
Yeah, I know. So if you guys are out and that does happen, if you're staying indoors, don't risk it. Don't be driving out there in the craziness if it starts getting freeze. You know, like it's not worth it. But things you can do at the house, like you guys can bake cookies with the kids, cook some stuff, show them how to cook. If you know how to cook, if you don't know how to cook, we'll put some pizza rolls in the oven.
Right.
Card games, board games,
Right.
things like that.
I cooked. I made this. I saw it on TikTok. Hawaiian rolls with like pizza stuffing. So I put like pepperonis in them.
Oh,
with,
interesting.
Like some marinara sauce and covered it with cheese. It was fire. It was good. It was good because I was watching the playoffs. So Super Bowl,
It was a good.
and I let my daughter
Good
like
Super Bowl
help
idea.
me, and she loved it.
She loved
so
it. Yeah, that's a good thing. That's what I'm saying. Like, if it gets freezing outside, stay indoors, make some hot chocolate. Just hang out with the
Something like
kiddos, play games, stuff like that. Try to get off the electronics for the weekend or something. You know, like try to stay off of that. But other than that, man, that's pretty much gonna wrap up our episode here, episode 4.
yeah,
And next episode, I know we dove a lot about how we got into fitness and like got deep into fitness. This episode, next episode, we're gonna talk about how the origin of how we became parents,
Parents, yeah.
right? Like at a young age, and how we co-parent,
Mhm.
try to co-parent, and all the things that come with it.
I think that's gonna be big.
And that's it's huge, because if you're just a new single dad, or just like going through, you know, you're not together with your significant other, like we're gonna give you some like good stuff where I feel like I've screwed up and I learned a lot from.
Same.
And yeah, and we'll dive deep into that, but and then just the other parties too, and how dealing with them is and stuff like that. So
right, just giving our perspective. I mean, you can take it or leave it. You know, you can. I mean, just listen and hear us out. And I mean, everybody handles their situation a little differently, but I think you can't go wrong with just just listening in and taking your own perspective on, you know, how to co-parent, especially if you've been dealing with issues, struggling. I'm still not the best, you know, not the advice expert when it comes to it, but we've learned, you know, that we both are two different people and we operate a little differently, and we've learned how to meet in between. So
yeah,
I think that'd be real interesting, a real interesting dive in. And then also special guests, like we're looking for more special guests. We got a lineup of people that we're already thinking about, but like, say if you're listening to the podcast and you know somebody you think would be, you know, go great, maybe like a new father or anybody, like we're looking for more so, I guess, a couple of guys, you know, somebody that, especially fathers in general, they don't have to be girl dads, but I mean, you know, in general, new dads. Let us know. Send it in. We'll put some fillers out on social media. But if you follow us on social media, you feel free to DM us, whether it's our personals or preferably our podcast page, right?
Yeah. No, so, for sure.
Look out for TikTok. We got TikTok popping. We on YouTube. We're starting to grow on every platform. So
yeah, we're slowly but surely going to do this. You know, it takes time. We're just not going to. It doesn't happen overnight.
And we are two busy people. So
we are. We have a lot going on. This is kind of like our side project,
right?
I would say.
If you listened in, thank you.
Yeah, really. No, absolutely. Thank you guys that have listened in so far. And if you can, once we create this stuff, like just subscribe. Right. With all that stuff.
Give us your feedback. If you want to hear more about one thing or the other, like, feel free. Like I said, reach out to us and be like, hey, you guys kind of touched on this. I want to hear about this again. I thought this was interesting.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Or if you got any insight too, like, so you want to give us some advice or anything that maybe we missed during the podcast, like, reach out. That's what we want.
For sure, absolutely. But that's it. That's it for episode 4.
Straight up.
Till the next one.
Who you got in the Super Bowl, man?
I'm gonna go with the Bengals. Joe Cool.
Joe Cool's cool, man. But the Rams, they on fire right now, fam.
Yeah, they are. We'll see. Although the Chinese New Year is the year of the tiger? It looks like a Bengal.
I guess yeah.
Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Yeah. You never know. I'm just saying, putting it out there.
That's a great point.
We'll
bro.
see. All right. We'll catch you on the next one, guys.
Hey, deuces.
Peace.